Welcome to another episode of the Journeys of Not So Ordinary People podcast, your personal, professional, and career development podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Dave Peltz, and with me is Dr. Joe Hamlett. How are you doing today, Dr. Joe Hamlett?
I'm doing pretty well, Dr. Dave.
Dr.
Off to
Dave with me.
off to a very good start. Very good start.
Yeah. I can tell how this one's going to go. So we want to thank our viewers and listeners for joining us for another episode. If this is your first time, we hope you enjoy it. If you're returning, that's awesome. We have over 160 episodes, so plenty to choose from. For those of you that are listening, you don't know, but we do have a guest speaker with us today. For those of you that are watching, you already know that. Our guest speaker today is Mecha Swain. So Mecha, please take a moment to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mecha Swain. I have a production company. It's called Mecha Media, and I created a brand called Slapstick Comedy. We have radio, TV, and magazine, and we work with comedians all around the world. I'm happy to be here, guys.
Happy to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
We think this one's going to be a fun one for some reason. We've just got an inkling. There might be a little more laughter than usual. So with that, we've got an awesome title for today's podcast. Do what you want to do. Don't listen to anyone else. So
That's
Mecha,
right.
you came up with that topic. And can you tell us a little bit about why that topic?
Because I am a girl that likes that likes to march to the beat of her own drum, and I really don't like being told what to do. So that's why I am an entrepreneur. And I've worked in corporate for years, but as I am growing and aging, I prefer to just live the rest of my life the way I want to live it. That's why.
That's awesome. I think that's most everybody's dream, right?
That's
Yeah.
right. It should
Well,
be.
It should
yeah,
be.
and I could definitely relate to that. I mean, we were just on the air talking about that is my goal, is to one day just say, hey, this is what I want to do. So good for you for being able to do that.
Thank you.
So why is that topic so important to you? Because there's really two pieces. As we are discussing this, I think this is our longest title for an episode, and I think that's pretty cool. Because there's a big message there. It's not just one piece. It actually makes a much bigger message that we're going to be talking about. So do what you want to do and don't listen to anybody else. What is involved with that? I mean, when you talk to people about that, Mecha, what do you tell them about do what you want to do, don't listen to anybody else? Because I mean, if I was told don't listen to anybody else, I know I'd be in a lot of trouble right now.
And sometimes you'd be in a lot of trouble if you listen to other people too, because
That's
everyone
true.
told me not to quit my job and don't do this and don't talk to these people and don't. And one of the best advices that I've ever received is, Mecha, be yourself. People seem to
Mhm.
love my personality. This is who I am all the time. I can't even help it. But I feel like I'm a winner by, like, when I go into these big meetings and I don't know the language. I really don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just having fun putting my empire together, and it's working. So I feel like as long as you do what you want to do, and if you keep, now where I am with my process is I'm learning to be quiet, because as you move along and you see your project coming to fruition, you never know who you meet, and you never know like what you're going to run into. And so I'm at a place where I'm learning to just keep to myself, because once you get so excited and you share your excitement with everyone else, they take the energy out of your excitement.
Mhm.
So I'm transitioning my business. I'm transforming. I'm growing. I am expanding my studio by 10,000 square feet. And I have this
Wow.
major plan on what I want to do and how I want to do it. And I took months to plan, and I have a really good team. So we planned together. And when I shared with my friends what I wanted to do, they're like, oh, well, I hope this doesn't happen. And I hope this person doesn't steal your idea. And I said,
Wow.
you know what? And this was just a few weeks ago, you guys. So this is like new when I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm not telling nobody, nothing
Wow.
else. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
just that's why I say march to the beat of your own drum and do what makes you happy. Because really it's nobody else's business, because no one knows your vision. They really can't see your vision. And I just say, just go with the flow.
Right. Wow.
So now we right before you got on the show, I asked you a question. What happened between high school and you starting your own business? And you
Oh,
said that
yeah.
you got upset with work and I think you said you walked out or something like that. I mean, that's there's a couple of descriptions I want to use that I shouldn't say on air. That takes a lot to be able to just come in and say,
Had enough.
give them the number
Yeah.
one sign and say, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So one day I went to work. Well, honestly, I was already like a little fed up, and I was already. So at this point, I have been on my job for 8.5 years. I wrote for an IT department, and I actually
Mm.
loved the job because I worked remote, and it was what I wanted to do. But let's say I felt like I was the DEI girl. Let's just say that, and
Mm.
I felt like I was treated differently than the other girls on my team. And I already had my 2 week notice written up and it was like saved on my desktop. So all I had to do was just add in dates. I was
Oh,
already
wow.
prepared. So one day my team lead, she emailed me and she told me that I didn't do something. And I know I did because I took my job serious. Like, this is how I get paid. So I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And I've been doing it for 8.5 years. So she sent an email and it was like an hour before my shift was over. And when I got the email, I was like, you know what? I opened up that 2 week notice and I put my dates in and I sent it to her right away. And
Wow.
I'm free. I feel free.
Yeah.
And this was I turned my 2 week notice in on May 24th of 2023. And my last day was June 7th, 2023. And here I am,
Wow.
you guys, by the grace of
Wow.
God.
Yep. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I can't believe you were
Well, I just it's just funny to hear that you said you had your 2 week notice written well in advance and just ready to drop it at the
couldn't wait.
appropriate time. Yeah, I mean a lot of us might feel like that, but for you to go through that motion, so you are already envisioning, I'm gone, I'm leaving, I'm ready for that next thing. And I think that's really helpful that you were already in that position and you were just ready to basically flip the switch and you were
Yes.
ready to go. So I
Looking for
think
that
that,
excuse.
yeah, that I think you already at an advantage over most people that say, oh, I'm going to quit. They haven't taken any action. You had your action in hand. You were ready to go. So wow, that's powerful.
Thank
So,
you.
so how did you do what you want to do with your media company? How did that come about? I mean, was it overnight? Did you already have it built? Was it like, oh, I just turned in my 2 week notice and now I gotta do something?
So I had already opened my studio. I have been in my studio for 2 years at this point, and I was like
Okay.
overwhelmed. And I worked on
Mm.
my day job from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30. I would try to go to the gym for at least an hour, and then I went back to work for myself. And it was overwhelming. And I said, okay, you got to make a decision on what you want to do. And it just came to
Mm.
that point. But so like a few years before that, I did try to turn in my notice, but they kind of asked me to stay. So I said, okay. And I thought
Oh
about my
man.
benefits and I stayed. But this time I was like, that's it. That's it. No one's going to
Yeah.
talk me out of it. I'm just going to turn my notice in and that's it. And then I waited like a week before I actually told the girls on my team. So I knew I was serious. And
Mm.
then June 7th came and I was like, oh my gosh, no more checks. What am I going to do? But it still worked out. Like, I'm still happy. I am still going. I decided that I will no longer be a morning person. I mean, I get up, but I just completely changed my routine and I love having, getting to make my own schedule. But
Yeah.
so you guys want to hear a story? So when I was in
Okay.
seventh and eighth grade, I was the broadcaster at my middle school.
Oh
So I had to
wow.
get up
Wow.
Okay.
every morning. Well, no, I'm lying. Not every morning. Like once a week. I had to
Okay.
be at my school at like 7 a.m. And I would go in and they already had a script for me and I would do the news for my school and
Wow.
they would
Okay.
air on like Thursdays because I had to go in a day early and then they would air the next day. So I
Okay.
did that for 2 years and I always wanted to be a broadcaster. When I went to college, my major was communications I still was focusing on being a broadcaster. So what happened was I moved to New York and I interned at MTV and BET. The towers fell, unfortunately. So that's what brought me back to Ohio. When I went back to Ohio, I had to take my last requirement, which was a journalism class. And I was like, I don't want to take this freaking class. So I went to my advisor, to my counselor, and I begged, I'm like, please, can you find me something else? And she's like, Misha, you have to, it's a requirement. You cannot get out of this.
Right.
And I'm like, but please, I don't want to, I like writing journalism was never my thing. I just want to talk. So I ended up taking the class and I was probably a few months in, and my professor, like, you know, when your professors don't talk to you. So I get to class one day and my professor said, Misha, I need to speak to you after class. And I'm like, what did I do? So he's like, I'll just talk to you later. So after class, I'm like,
that's a great feeling to be left with,
yeah,
right?
I know.
I need to talk to you,
like,
but we're going to do it later.
We'll do it after class. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was so nervous. So after class, he pulled me to the side and he said, hey, you've been turning in some really good articles and our student newspaper is hiring. And I think you would be a perfect fit. And I'm like, really? But again, journalism, that was not what I wanted to do. So I waited a month and then I said, okay, I need money. And I ended up going and I applied for the position and like they hired me. My first assignment was the MLK March on campus. And so they gave me like my own, everything I needed, all of my own tools, like a camera and, you know, and then I got to talk to everybody. That's right up my alley. So I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, this is what journalism is. So guess what, guys? That's when I started Slapstick Comedy magazine.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's how that happened.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Very cool.
So a few more questions here. I've got a bag full of them. What advice can you give to women and women of color who want to be entrepreneurs and want to say, I'm not doing this corporate thing. I'm not working for anybody else anymore. I'm working for myself. What advice can you give them? You've got to have a couple things in your pocket, I'm sure.
Well, I want to say, I don't blame you, number one. And number two, go for it. Don't be afraid. Honestly, I have no idea how things are working out for me, but they are. And what it is there are other people who completely believe in what I'm trying to do. Or what I am doing. What I am doing, it's totally off the wall and it's very unique. I mean, who can really say they have radio, TV, and magazine? Even though I'm not where I want to be, where I want to be at yet, we're going. Like, you know, we have plenty of magazines to show what we've done. We have videos. So as long as you put the work in and, you know, you stay dedicated to who you are and you network. Networking is like so important. Yeah. And I've met some incredible people along the way. And you'll be surprised who you come across because so one person I am trying to get in touch with, Shaq. So if I meet Shaq, I'll tell you guys. And if you guys meet him, tell him about me. Okay, that's the deal. So yeah, you'll be surprised. Like, I mean, I believe in God and I pray constantly every single day. That's the first thing I do is I wake up in the morning and I thank God. And like I said, I have two boys. They're 25 and 27, and we know what's going on in the world. So I make sure they're protected, but I just walk in faith and it's totally working. So if you believe in yourself, you can make anything happen.
Right. Wow.
Right, Joe?
Yes, I agree 100%. Again, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have faith, if I didn't have support, if I didn't have belief in, you know, higher power and my ability to be better. So I agree with you 100%. Yes, absolutely.
So, Joe, do you have any questions for Misha? I've been asking a lot of questions. I like to talk a lot too. I want to, you know, kind of balance it out a little bit.
No, I think, you know, you mentioned, Misha, that you know, you don't know how it's working and all that, but I think, and I like to refer to this a lot, is that you keep your mind open to the possibilities. And I think that carries people much further than if they sit back and say, well, it'll never happen. I'm not going to get there. Like you just said, your goal is to, you know, meet Shaq, have Shaq on your show, whatever you want to do. And so you're keeping that as a viable option. You're really thinking about this can happen. And I think that's the difference in being successful and not. Is just, again, keep your mind open to the possibilities. And people know that have been on our podcast or heard our podcast or seen it. That's what really education did for me. When I went back to school, it was not the all this enormous amount of knowledge that I learned, but it was more opening my mind to the possibilities, what could be. And I think that's what's been driving you at your faith, and that the possibility is there. If you think it can be a reality. And so I think that's why you are able to achieve what you're achieving. It's because of that.
You are exactly right. So I always questioned manifestation. And I recently had an investor come to my studio, and we sat and talked to each other. And this is a millionaire, And one thing she kept reiterating, she said, Misha, you have to manifest. You have to manifest. You have to manifest. And I was like, oh, manifestation is real. Like, I'm not, I didn't know to believe it or not. And then, they, Jim Carrey manifested his money, and, he had a check that he walked around with in his wallet for so long. And so that is one thing I could say is manifestation is, it is real.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I've been doing. Like, I do things like, okay, so sometimes, you guys, I feel beat up, like I feel defeated, and I'm like, I don't want to do anything today. So what I will do is I go and I look at things that I cannot afford. So I'll drive around and I'll look at like the expensive houses. And I'm like, okay, I got to go to work now. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna work so that I can get this house one day. And then I talked to one of the comedians, and he told me that he was going to a furniture store to manifest. And I was like, that's a good idea. And I'm going to do the same thing. And he said, Misha, when you go to the store, make sure you look at everything that you can't buy. And I said, okay, that's a good idea. So manifestation is real, and I recommend it.
Wow, I want to get back to that. But I do have a question. You mentioned the importance of networking, and Joe and I've talked about networking a lot in the past. What type of networking have you done to get your business to where it is now? Because there's a lot of different forms of networking, a lot of different platforms. So can you share with us what type of networking you did?
Yes. I want to tell you guys about an event that I attended recently. It was really cool. So when I say don't be afraid to put your content out, don't be afraid to put your content out, because you never know who's watching. So I put my content out. I don't share everything on LinkedIn. I'm like, excuse me, I'm super picky on what I put on LinkedIn, but I put everything on YouTube. So I have everything channeled to where it's going to lead you to another place, whether it's my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Facebook, whatever. Anyways, I put my content on LinkedIn, and some investors recently messaged me. They invited me to one of their events. And I'm like, what is this? So I almost ignored the email. However, the next day I got another email, and it's like, Misha, you don't want to miss this. Like, the message sounded so personal to where I signed up right away. I said, put me down. I'll be there. So I go, and I don't even know what it is or who these people are or anything.
Oh, wow.
I go to this event, and it's an event full of venture capitalists. They have their own building. You guys. And then they have all this space where entrepreneurs can come and work. And so when I got there, somebody let me in. Like they're like, hey, we'll be waiting for you. So I go to the event, and they had a bar. So that's where I ended up. And I stood there because everyone was already talking to everybody, and I didn't know anyone. So I just stood there, and one of the guys came over and he said, hey, my name is Matt. I said, hey, Matt, my name is Misha. He goes, I already know who you are. I'm like, what?
Wow.
So then he goes, yeah, and my partners are waiting for you. We all want to meet you, and we want to give you a personal tour. And so they took me on this tour, and they have a space where I could do comedy shows. So, I encourage people, like, just go for it. Submit to wherever you want to submit. Talk to whoever you want to talk to. Like, don't be afraid to reach out. Like, I've been emailing Mark Cuban. He doesn't know who I am, but I've been reaching out, and I've been DMing Shaq, and I've been contacting. You just never know. So I'm going for it, because what I want. So my end goal is an all comedy network, and I want my own XM channel. So what I'm doing right now is I'm producing multiple podcasts. Like I have like 6 different podcasts with multiple comedians that I'm producing.
Wow.
And so I want to use that content so that I can have my own XM channel. And you guys, it's going to happen one day because who am I? Mecha Swain. So,
right.
And I'm going to make sure that it happens. So that's why I make sure I put my time in. And, you know, like I said, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. So.
Right. Wow.
So when you started, how many people? Was it just you, or did you have a handful of people?
So when I first started, it was just me, you guys.
And
then,
how many people do you have now?
Now I have like 80 something people. Like the crazy thing. Okay, so I came back. I brought my business back in 2020, and I came back with like 7 people. And then over the years, like now I have like 82 people on my team.
Wow.
And I can't believe it. And I have 14 different teams all together. And yeah, it's working. And they love me too, you guys. I feel like a leader. And
What's
it's
not
so
to
crazy.
love, right?
And I love my team. I like to brag about them because if it wasn't for them, I would not be as far as I am.
But I think your personality and your vision, everything you're doing is contagious. So
Yeah.
I think your team is probably going to continue to grow because people are going to continue to recommend people to you,
Yeah.
and refer them to you because they're enjoying what they're doing. They probably can see your vision, through themselves. So yeah, I think it's contagious. I think you're going to, if we come back a year from now, you'll probably have 100 and something people just because of the direction you're headed. I don't see any stopping you. I really don't. So
It's not. You're right about that, Joe. I am going to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you got me excited. I'm sitting there. I want to work with you.
Yeah, I was just
come
thinking
on,
the
Joe
same
and Dave.
thing.
Both of you can come to my team. We're all going to be on your team, but we can work together.
Absolutely, yeah. Wow.
All right. So, what else can you tell us about what you're doing and why things are important to you as it pertains to do what you want to do and don't listen to anybody else? Because you did mention don't listen to anybody else. There's pros and cons to that, but let's talk about the pros again about not listening to other people. Why should you not listen to other people sometimes?
Because they don't know anything. Like okay, so let me tell y'all. My mom, she's worked at the Highway Patrol for like 25 years, you guys.
Wow.
And she is one of those people, like, I grew up with a 2-parent household, and my parents were like 9 to 5, just my mom had this dream. And I remember I was in like middle school, and my mom has my entire life, she's pretty much worked in law enforcement, but she wanted to start a paper company. But she never went for it, and she knew how to do it and everything. But I think with my mom, so my mom's parents were completely stable. Like, they had their same jobs their entire lives. But then I have my dad's parents who were both entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So I pretty much took that side of the family. And my mom, so she wanted to start her paper company. And this was probably about 10 years ago. But I remember saying, Mom, if you started that paper company, we would be millionaires, because then, there's so much more that we could do together. And she just stopped and stared at me. So recently, I left my job, and my mom has always taught us stability, like stay on your job and don't move your kids around and don't move house to house. And your kids need to stay in the same school. Like, that's who my parents who they are. And so my mom she made a comment about me quitting my job. And I said, you know what, Mom? You could be miserable on your job, but I'm not. Like, that's how I have to talk to her like that, because that's how she understands who I am. And that's how you get people to be quiet. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to live my life the way I want to. I never wanted to be a doctor. Like I did. And that's another thing. I think we grow up doing everything that our parents want us to do. Like, my entire life, I did what they wanted me to do. I will be 46 this year. And if it was up to my grandmother, I would be still running track at Ohio. Well, I didn't run track at Ohio State, but my grandmother is like the biggest Ohio State fan. So if it was up to her, I would be running track at Ohio State. I would still be playing the clarinet at Ohio State. I would be like still in this college mode if I did what they wanted me to do.
So she
But
doesn't. She didn't want you to grad. She did not want you to graduate college, right? Because you'd still be doing it.
yeah, I would still be doing it. I would be at Ohio State at 46 years old if I did what my grandmother wanted me to do or what my parents wanted me to do. And so that's why I take pride in what I do, because I'm just, my dad, he loves who I am. Like, he never questions me. And my mom is just like, she just grew up a certain way, and I'm different. I am like the black sheep of my family, and I totally accept it. But it's fun. It's fun because everybody knows when I come in the room, they already know what they're going to get with me. So I am not a surprise to anyone if you already know me. So
Well, I think again, I think that's part of who you are and why you are, where you are today, is because I think you said at the very beginning, you go against the grain, or you're the one who does that, and just listening to you, I could see that. But I grew up in a household where the dream, the American dream, the mortgage, the cars, and all that, and so me and my wife did that for a number of years until we finally said, why are we doing this? Those are our parents' dreams. Those are what other people expect of us. And so, as we raised our kids, that was exactly what we told them. Be who you want to be, do what you want to do. And so an example of that is my youngest daughter is a full-time photographer. And she's loving life. And that's what we want for our kids. People, yeah, somebody jokingly said years ago after I earned my doctorate degree that I had set the bar really high for my kids. And I jokingly said, yeah, they're going to have to at least get their doctorate degree. I was joking. At least. but I came back immediately and said, no, we just want them to live their life to the fullest, whatever that means for them. And so that's what we're proud of, is the path that they're taking is a path they want to be on, not again that that's just pre-designed or expectation of what they should be or who they should be. So I again, that's why I'm excited for you. And I know me and Dave, we reach out to you in a year from now, we'll be put on this waiting list. Be like,
no.
Look at me, Joe and Dave. Who? I don't know. I don't have any doctor's appointments for 6 months.
Yeah, we'll be passed to your fifth assistant, and she'll be like, "Yeah, she's still out." So
I like that.
Are they in the new janitorial services department?
That's hilarious. But you know what? So what's funny is recently, my oldest son, he said, "You know what, Mom? I don't see myself running Slapstick." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I wasn't, I was appalled. I was like, but I was like, "All right, Nigel, if that's what you want to do." But now he's like, "Okay, Mom, whatever you need us to do." But it's funny. Kids are hilarious. Kids are hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you set the bar really high for your kids. Yeah. Dave, what about you?
My son's doing great. He surpassed my expectations, and I told him I don't want you to get a doctorate degree because you don't need one in your career field. It would do absolutely nothing for you. And he does have his master's degree, and he's a rock star. So, so with that, we've got a couple minutes left to wrap up the show. So, Misha, what would you like the audience and our viewers and listeners to walk away with as it pertains to do what you want to do and don't listen to anybody else?
Exactly that. Do what you want to do and don't listen to anybody else, because you'll end up confused if you do. Like I said, I think what's important is being yourself, going for what you want to go for. Always remain professional. That's number one, because people do remember who you are, even though sometimes I am a little off the wall, but I know how to keep it together. I do a good job with that. But that's just the biggest thing, is just be yourself and go for it. Do not be afraid.
Awesome. Joe, what are your final thoughts?
Again, I in awe of Misha and her accomplishments, and I truly believe that in a year from now we're gonna see her in the news. I mean we're gonna see some new things. I think that's the direction you're headed, and I'm just excited to have got to meet you. Because I do see big things for you, I really
Yeah.
do, and so I'm
Thank you, Joe.
I'm just
Thank you,
glad
Dave.
you are able to come on the podcast and share your experience and share your energy, share, that we all, and that this is what comes from me, that we all are capable of greatness. We have the potential to be great. It's whether we embrace it or not, whether we, take hold of it and ride it. I mean, just go with it. And so, um, thanks for being here and to sharing your experience, sharing all that energy, sharing the potential for everybody. So, again, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I had fun, you guys.
Yeah,
Next
so
year,
You did
I'll see
too.
you guys
next
in a
year.
year. I'm putting it on my
Absolutely.
calendar.
All
Yes.
right. We're holding you to that.
Yep.
Okay.
Somehow, electronically, digitally. So with that, we want to thank you, Misha, for taking time out of your schedule to join us here today. It was an absolute honor and pleasure to have you with us on the podcast. I'm really going to take away the manifestation piece that's resonating. It's still like echoing and reverbing in my brain. So um, we want to thank all of our viewers and listeners for joining us on this episode of the Journeys of Not So Ordinary People podcast, your personal, professional, and career development podcast. And again, please like and share this episode or all episodes. If you want to reach out to Misha, her contact information will be in the description. And with that, we want you to keep on being your not so ordinary you.